What if I told you that the very foundations of global finance are being quietly rebuilt? And not by some small startup, but by the biggest names in the business. And it's not happening in some far-off future. It's happening right now. We're about to dive into one of the most important projects in finance today, one that's flying completely under the radar for most people. I mean, just take a look at this list. This is not a group of scrappy upstarts. These are the absolute pillars of the global financial system. We're talking Goldman Sachs, BNY Mellon, the DTCC, the company that settles trillions of dollars in trades every single day. You've got S&P Global, and even tech giants like Microsoft and Deloitte involved. When a group like this gets together to build something, you know a massive shift is underway. So that's the big question, right? What on earth could bring all of these huge and frankly fiercely competitive companies together on one single project? What problem is so big that it unites all of them? Well, the answer is a project with a goal so ambitious it almost sounds crazy. To build a totally new kind of financial plumbing for the entire industry. It's called the Canton Network. Okay, this definition right here holds all the keys. It's a privacy-enabled, interoperable blockchain network. Let's just quickly unpack that. Interoperable means different systems can finally talk to each other. Privacy-enabled, this is absolutely critical, means they can do business together without spilling all their secrets. And it's all built for institutional assets. We're talking the stocks, the bonds, the real stuff that makes the global economy tick. So how does it actually work? Well, it's not one giant public database where everyone can see everything. No way. Instead, think of it like this. Each institution, say Goldman Sachs or BNY Mellon, gets to keep its own private system, its own private ledger. Canton then acts like a universal translator, this central hub that lets all these separate private systems connect and transact with each other perfectly, as if they were all one. It's a true network of networks. And this right here, this is the core problem Canton is built to solve. For decades, finance has been stuck in these digital silos. Every bank, every institution is its own little island. Getting them to talk to each other is painfully slow, it's super expensive, and it's prone to all sorts of errors. Canton is all about building the bridges between these islands. Okay, so how do you actually build those bridges? What's the magic under the hood? Well, the engine powering this whole thing is a protocol called Braun. You can think of Braun as the common language, the rulebook that allows everyone on the network to communicate and trust each other. And this slide just lays out the difference so clearly. On the left, you've got the old way, isolated systems, constant risk of data leaks, and slow, painful reconciliation processes. But on the right, you have the Canton way, powered by Braun. It's an interoperable network with guaranteed privacy and something called atomic settlement. Now, that's a game changer. It basically means a deal either happens instantly and completely, or it doesn't happen at all. The risk of a trade getting stuck halfway is just gone. No more waiting days for things to clear. Let's just double-click on that first idea, interoperability. What this really means is that an asset, let's say a bond, that lives on a Goldman Sachs system could be used as collateral in a deal with BNP Paribas, instantly, seamlessly, as if they were both using the exact same software. This kind of thing is basically impossible today, and it would completely transform the plumbing of finance. Now, this second pillar, privacy, is maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. You have to remember, these firms are brutal competitors. They would never join a network that broadcasts their trading activity to the whole world. That's a non-starter. So Canton is designed from the ground up so that only the people directly involved in a transaction ever see the details. Nobody else on the network gets a peek. Full stop. And all of this leads to the grand vision, the end game. This quote from the team behind it really captures it all. It's about building a world where assets aren't trapped inside the digital walls of one institution. It's about letting value flow freely. Okay, so that's the theory, that's the tech, but let's shift gears and talk about what this means in the real world. Why are all these giants pouring time and money into this? Let's get into the practical side of things. Yeah, let's just ask that question directly. Let's cut through all the jargon for a second. If you're a banker or a fund manager, what can you actually do with a network like Canton that you can't do today? Well, the list of potential uses is massive. You could turn things like bonds and loans into digital tokens that move and settle in seconds, not days. Think about securities lending. A process that's currently a multi-day headache could happen instantly. Or collateral management. Imagine moving assets around in real time to back up your positions. That would make the entire financial system so much more stable and efficient. But when you strip it all the way, for these institutions, it really boils down to one word: efficiency.
The financial system today spends billions and billions of dollars on what's called reconciliation. That's the boring, tedious job of making sure everybody's spreadsheets match up. By creating a single network where everyone speaks the same language, you can get rid of a huge amount of that cost, that delay, and that risk of human error. So this really gets you thinking about the future, right? This isn't just about a simple upgrade to the old system. It feels more like a fundamental change in how we even think about assets and ownership. Let's just pause on this for a second. Just try to picture this world, a world where value moves as freely and as instantly as information moves on the internet. A stock, a bond, a piece of art, anything could be exchanged and settled in a flash with total security and total privacy. That's the ultimate promise. And that leaves us with one final big idea to chew on. The internet built a network for information, and it completely changed our world. The huge ambition behind projects like the Canton Network is to do the exact same thing, but for value, to build a true internet of assets. The question isn't just if they can do it, but what happens to our world when they actually succeed.